Well, now at 6, we're taking a look at the hardest hit places by Halong. The former typhoon has left destruction behind with floodwaters, whipping winds in western Alaska. Although the worst of the conditions have passed, there is a long road to recovery for some. And as we come on the air, state troopers confirm a female was found dead in Kuskokwim. Her name will be released once next of kin is notified. And Alaska's news source has been working hard to keep you updated, looking ahead to what's next as some are forced to pick up pieces of their lives and face major cleanup.
Chief Meteorologist Melissa Fry has been in Nome all day and through the weekend as this all has played out. We've also got meteorologist Jackie Purcell tracking what's next. But we're going to start with our political reporter right now, Will Courtney, who has the very latest from the state's response. Will?
Yeah, John, Augusta, a number of state leaders, including the governor, emphasize how an urgent search and rescue effort remains underway after Halong. 2 people in Kuskokwim still remain unaccounted for. All this in communities state and military leaders can only describe as devastated. The National Guard says they're coordinating more than 50 organizations and companies to help people impacted by Storm Halong. Senator Dan Sullivan says the recovery plan includes lots of federal resources, including FEMA, the Department of Homeland Security, and the White House. Adjutant General for the Alaska National Guard, Major General Torrance Sachs says this could be the Guard's largest off-road response in more than 45 years. The top priority across the board, residents' life and safety. Here's what we heard from a Homeland Security representative.
Yep, our first move is to get people rescued. Second move is to get them to a safe shelter. If that safe shelter is in the community, the schools tend to function, as Commissioner Bishop said, as our lifeboats in the communities. If the community, school, or shelter, and we support the local incident command, that's our job. If the community, local school, or shelter is inadequate or unsustainable, then we move them to another place of shelter.
And in the meantime, the Public Safety Commissioner, James Cockrell, confirmed 51 people so far have been rescued. The Coast Guard says there are also reports of oil pollution from the storm. The extent of that, we are still not quite sure. Governor Dunleavy says it's not a priority at the moment, saying life and safety takes precedence. Again, 2 people in Kuskokwim still remain unaccounted for, and we're going to continue to monitor that as we keep you updated. John and Augusta.
Will, thanks so much. And now we're going to head to Nome, where Melissa Fry has been for several days through this storm.
Yeah, Melissa, what was the storm like there for the people, and how are the people feeling tonight now that it has passed?
Yeah, John, Gus, I think people are just relieved that it's over, relieved that it did not hit the Norton Sound region anywhere as hard as it did for our neighbors here to the south. We did feel the impact of the wind. It was difficult to stand, very uncomfortable. There was some minor flooding, some power outages. But again, just to our south here, down the coastline, a completely different story after those Category 2 hurricane force winds whipped through the area, bringing in that storm surge. And it became a matter of life or death in minutes.
I was scared. I thought, the house was going to sink.
Stephen Aniver was in his home in Kuskokwim when the water started rising.
It was very fast, about half an hour. It was half full.
Water was everywhere, picking up everything in his home. And then the house itself.
It was shaking. The house was shaking.
He told me his life flashed before his eyes.
I kept calling my brother and my mom. I drifted away to about half a mile near the river by my brother's place.
The house stopped moving, but he was still stuck inside.
The door couldn't open. My brother came with someone, and I went out the window. They helped me.
First to his brother's house, then evacuated again to the school, staying there now into the second day. It's the only option.
There's still no power in the village. Only the school have power.
And just up the coast to Kipnuk.
Pretty traumatic, having to see, my hometown, really not there anymore.
We spoke to Christy Fox,
who was taken to Bethel by helicopter with her boyfriend and kids.
The water was coming in really fast, and people's houses started floating. They kept saying that the tide's going to go out at 4, the tide's going to go out. The water was hitting the house, and you could hear it. It was like really loud, like we were in a boat.
The danger was too high, and they knew they had to get out.
We need to find help or somehow get ready. There would be no way that we would have gotten out if the house had floated away.
With a child in a wheelchair, a boat was the only way they knew they could get to dry ground.
Then it wasn't easy for the men that to carry, my boyfriend's son in a wheelchair.
Once safe at school, it was obvious to the doctor they needed more help.
She said that we can come here to Bethel.
The Coast Guard was able to get them to safety.
So have you been able to talk with anyone back in Kipnik and hear how they're doing?
No, not yet. They don't have any service. So
She doesn't know how long it'll be until they can get back.
right now it might not be home, but I hope it comes back together.
Families are scattered and many houses destroyed by this former typhoon. But Aniver and others say they will rebuild. Melissa Fry, Alaska's news source. And you can just hear it in their voices, just how scary that situation was, how devastated they are by what has happened to their communities. It's going to take months, if not years, to rebuild. And again, right now they're just focusing on that active search and rescue effort there again across that YK Delta region, specifically in both of those communities. John, Augusta.
Melissa, thanks so much for your reporting. Travel back safe. Small communities in western Alaska felt some of the worst parts of Halong. State crews are now working as fast as they can to assess damage across those affected communities.
Doing a lot of assessments. We've got 10 teams that are either on the ground or on their way, and we'll take a look at all the infrastructure in these communities, bridges, airports, roadways, and we'll get that all assessed, reported. And then while we're there, we can also take pictures and write up assessments for other things that we see. So it'll be a comprehensive effort.
The Department of Transportation adds that only the Kipnik Airport is closed permanently at this time.
And at this time, meteorologist Jackie Purcell joins us with the forecast looking ahead after Halong. Jackie.
Yeah, we are going to be taking a look at a new storm that is forming just south of the Aleutians, but it's going to be the next one to impact southwest Alaska. Check it out. You can see that there's still some advisories as well as even warnings, those warnings down along the panhandle for some strong winds at times. Now let's get to what's happening as far as the next storm system. Tuesday through the day, it is still south of the Aleutians, but through the day we'll cross the Aleutians and then head into the Bering Sea, and that storm front is Tuesday night into Wednesday set for arrival in southwest Alaska. Unfortunately, it might be coinciding right as high tide is occurring on Wednesday, so that's why there's still some concern for those areas devastated by this past storm. Could see another rise in those water levels. That storm front will pass into the Gulf of Alaska. Still some hangers on as far as coastal flood advisories that are expected to end Tuesday over northwest Alaska. Still looking at that, but again, we're watching those storm systems, but still messy weather into the interior as well as south central.
Today marks federal holiday Columbus Day. Of course, it's marking Christopher Columbus's first voyage to the Americas. Columbus landed in the Bahamas on October 12th of 1492. Today, also Indigenous Peoples Day, meant to bring awareness of Columbus's treatment of Indigenous people. A handful of states mark both days with a spot on the same calendar, but some states dropped recognition of Columbus Day in favor of Indigenous Peoples Day, including here in Alaska.
With the student population 20% Indigenous, the University of Alaska Fairbanks celebrated Indigenous Peoples Day with events going into the evening.
All over campus, events like a fry bread taco fundraiser and elders panels marked the various festivities of the day. During the elders panel, topics like tradition, education, and language were discussed.
Alaska Native communities recognizing Indigenous Peoples Day today.
And joining us now, we've got Benjamin Jasek. He's the Director of Research for the Native Heritage Center here in Alaska. Benjamin, thank you so much for joining us. In a state with so much history, how significant is this day for folks who celebrate it?
Well, it's incredibly significant, especially in Alaska, which has 229 tribes, We have around a third of the recognized tribes within the United States. And so incredibly important, especially recognizing, the history of this day and really celebrating Alaska Native peoples who have been and always will be on this land.
Some people, in recent years, Indigenous Peoples Day, I guess depending on who you ask, it could be considered controversial, or maybe Columbus Day considered controversial. Can you talk about those 2 days, how they differ?
Yeah, and so whenever we talk about Indigenous Peoples Day, it's about celebrating who we are as Alaska Native peoples here today, and recognizing that while there is a history, that it is better to reflect, I believe that it's better reflected within the values of who we want to be as not only Alaska Native peoples, Alaskans in general, but just within the United States to celebrate, the original peoples of this land, as opposed to an individual who's known more for destruction as opposed to healing.
And Benjamin, what is a lasting message for everybody when it comes to history, preservation, and remembering their roots, and how does your center help with that?
Oh, thank you. Excellent question. Whenever we talk about history, we need to recognize that history isn't something that has happened, but if it's history that is forgotten, then it's history that will always repeat itself. And so when we remember the history of the peoples of this land, not only the points of genocide, but also the points of who we are as Alaska Native peoples, and the fact that we want a future that's marked by thriving, then that is where history really makes its mark and makes a difference in not only what has happened, but who we will be. And at the Alaska Native Heritage Center, our main focus is to be able to tell this story, this history, in a way that, like I said, we don't repeat it, that we become better as time goes on. Some parts of that are talking about the history of specifically Alaska, talking also about the history of the assimilative boarding schools, which we had 115 that we found at the center through our research.
Yeah.
But also talking about the revitalization that's also going on and bringing healing to our communities.
Well, Benjamin Jasek with the Alaska Native Heritage Center, we appreciate you very much sharing your perspective and your time tonight.
Thanks for listening. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcast from Alaska's news source automatically. And stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.